Unsolved.
JonBenet Ramsey's father speaks out. The search for JonBenet's killer. Is JonBenet murder finally solvable? Is there a JonBenet Ramsey conspiracy? Well, you might think so after this video. Okay, so let's take a look at Paula Woodward's website on JonBenet Ramsey. And let's go to evidence, and let's go to audio, and let's play the 911 call.
I'm at 15th Street. What's going on there, ma'am? We have a kidnapping.
Okay, now let's play the first part of the complete 911 call.
911 emergency. Police. What's going on? 15th Street. What's going on there, ma'am? We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please. Explain to me what's going on, okay? There's a note left in our door.
So is it an accident that Paula Woodward's website skips over the operator saying 911 emergency and Patsy saying, we need the police?
911 emergency. Police.
So there's kind of 3 steps to Patsy's first statement. She says something like, we need a... Then she gasps, and then says police. Was Patsy going to say we need an ambulance? Because if that's the case, it's over. Case closed. Patsy and John covered up this crime. It's not only people that are helping John Ramsey, it's whole channels like Netflix and their docu-series on the JonBenet case. When they played the 911 call, they eliminate the beginning of the call, and then the middle of the call they edit out parts, and then the end of the call they eliminated, where Patsy hung up on 911. So Netflix chose to remove the parts in the red operator. How old is your daughter? Patsy, she's 6 years old. She's blonde, 6 years old. Operator, does it say who took her? Patsy, what? Operator, does it say who took her? Patsy, no, I don't know. It's there. There's a ransom note here. Operator, it's a ransom note? Patsy, it says SBTC Victory. Please. Now listening to this, isn't Patsy's question what? Nervous anger? She kind of takes out her frustration on the operator, but the operator remains calm and continues on. And then you have Netflix remove the SBTC Victory. Why did they do that? How did Patsy remember those initials? What about this rope found in the guest bedroom next to JonBenet's room? According to John and Patsy, if you believe them, they did not know where it came from. They had no idea how the rope got in that bedroom. But looking at this photograph of JonBenet with the rope seems a little hard to believe them, doesn't it? John Ramsey's police interview. Yeah, and when I went down and looked around the house that morning, and I think I'd made a statement, or at least I read, I know I said this, that all the doors were locked and I had checked, I believe, every door on the first floor, and they appeared to be locked. So the morning of the 26th, do you recall checking all the doors and they were locked? I believe I checked all the first floor doors, yeah. I did go out once. I went out to the door that leads into the garage to see if it was locked because there's a bunch of boxes piled in front of it and you couldn't get to it from the inside of the garage. So I did in fact go out of the house once, which would have been for, half a minute. John Ramsey didn't just check the doors that morning, he checked them the previous night. This is from Detective Steve Thomas's book. An equally important point made by John Ramsey was repeated to 3 different officers. He told French, Art, and later Sergeant Whitson that he had personally checked the doors the previous night and all were secure. When 3 cops get the same information during separate conversations with the same person, I view it as a consistent story. Months later, in an official interview, Ramsey would deny saying it to any of them. Now, there are some people telling us that the butler pantry door was left open because of this crime scene photo. So we're supposed to believe that John Ramsey didn't notice this door open. The 2 police officers that came to investigate didn't notice this door open. And the sergeant didn't notice this door wide open that morning. Or maybe it was just open just prior to the crime scene investigator taking this photograph. John Ramsey, an inch maybe or less. It was cracked open. Lou Smith, which window? John Ramsey, I think it was the little one. There's 3 windows across here. As I recall, I think it was the middle one. That was broken. There was a pane glass broken out of it, which I attributed to breaking myself. Lou Smith, people go into that basement? John Ramsey, but it was open, and there was a suitcase under it. This hard Samsonite suitcase. Lou Smith, describe how the suitcase was positioned. John Ramsey, it was against the wall. I think the handle was on top. It was directly under the window, as I recall, and I closed the window. I don't know why, but I closed it. And then... This is from 60 Minutes, Australia.
Yeah, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes, right, to know that.
But what if you're Nancy Drew?
This is what we call a clue, right? You got an open window.
No, according to John Ramsey back in 1997, the window was open less than an inch. He pushed it closed and latched it. So it wasn't open. Now John Ramsey, even though he knows the window wasn't left wide open, he stands by and lets people say that it was. Not just in this documentary. Here he is saying it himself.
We call it the trade room because it had a trade set up, electric trade set up. And immediately I saw the window, one of the windows was open and broken.
The bowl of pineapple and the fact that there was fragments of pineapple in JonBenet's digestive system is one of the hard facts. The second biggest fact is that JonBenet was wiped clean, redressed, wrapped in a white blanket. Those 2 facts are the strongest pieces of evidence that prove that John or Patsy killed JonBenet. Now, the revisionists want us to believe that JonBenet had cherries and grape skins in her digestive system to prove that it was some fruit cocktail that JonBenet ate, and she must have eaten this at the Whites' Christmas dinner. But Priscilla White said she did not serve anything like this. She did not serve pineapple. So this is just some made-up theory, but I still want to present it. Now here's where the cherries and grape skins falsehoods originated, with this document, this index or something that was written by Team Ramsey. At first glance it looks all real and legit, but if you look at it closely, you can see misspellings, grammar errors, and odd things about it. Furthermore, keep in mind that JonBenet was dead and buried, and they could only go by samples taken from her body. I find stuff like this so incredibly dishonest and unethical, and that's all I'm going to say. No footprints in the snow at JonBenet home. Cops found no footprints in the snow outside JonBenet Ramsey's home the morning of her murder, an early clue suggesting someone in her house killed the button-nosed beauty queen. Investigators arriving at the house in the early morning hours of the 26th found no fresh tracks. Cops believe the lack of footprints is significant and one of two important clues suggesting the 6-year-old was sexually assaulted and strangled by someone in her family or close to her family. Now there's confusion about the snow for two reasons. Days earlier there was a heavy snow, and that's the snow that you see on the front yard. But on Christmas night and in the morning, there was a very light snow. Here's a record to that fact in this police report. Sergeant Rickenbach said there was a light dusting of snow on the ground when he arrived at the Ramsey residence. Sergeant Rickenbach did not notice any footprints or any other tracks in the snow. Sergeant Rickenbach personally checked the exterior of the Ramsey residence. Sergeant Rickenbach did not notice any signs of forced entry to the residence.
Told him, hey, we found this note, our daughter's missing. So well, you sure she didn't just run away? She was 6 years old, it's cold out, it's dark, it's snowing. No, she didn't run away.
How was the weather that early morning, John?
It's snowing, it's snowing, it's snowing.
Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved. And so, what do you believe? Leave a comment. I read all the comments, except the ones that are like a page or two. I skip those. I might start them, read them for a little while, then I get bored and move on to the next comment. So I'll see you the next time.